they invest into. So Chinese private enterprises investing in Europe, they have a very strong interest to diversify a lot, to spread the investment, to use investment very wisely, because they cannot waste money. For them, wasting money might be being bankrupt tomorrow. So they need to be very carefully when facing up to the challenges that poses the foreign investment environment. Whereas state enterprises, they have a different approach. So even though we talk about challenges for both sides, for the state-owned enterprises and the private enterprises, the way how they manage and how they deal with those challenges is very, very different. If you look at the state-owned enterprises and private enterprises and pick up some examples, then we find out, looking at the state-owned enterprise investment companies, so the big guys, those who really bring in money, focusing on some projects, but with big cash inflow, the top 5 of investment enterprises, state-owned investment enterprises, or state-owned company investment in Europe would be those 5 companies here. So it's the China Investment Corporation, it's Wanhua, and it's the other 3 big players. And as we see, what sector are they into? What financial resources do they have? What's their primary goal of overseas investment? What is their government backing? Well, this clearly explains what they are focusing on and why they will continue to invest heavily in Europe, and that they have a complete different form of challenges they face up in Europe than other companies, than private companies. Now, looking at the distribution of China's investment according to the investment type, again, we have 2 different forms. How can you invest, or how do they approach? Well, one way is to just go there, use your money and buy. Or go there and find a partnership. Or go there and build on something existing. An existing partner, an existing company, an existing infrastructure, an existing market, whatever. And the other way is just to start fresh off from zero. So build up your own factory, build up your own company, build up your own whatever. So this is how it's different. If you look at this here, again from the transaction value, then we see that those companies who actually really have enough confidence and enough understanding of starting something new are the minority. Because it's still tricky if you don't know the environment and you don't really know the market. And most of those Chinese companies, you say, especially we talk about mostly private companies here, they don't know. So even here, the figure we can see here is not really very much relating to private company investment, but it's still very much related to investment by state-owned enterprises. The percentage of really private companies daring to start greenfield, daring to start from zero is very low. The risk is too high. They don't know the environment. They don't really have the confidence yet. They don't think now it's time, we go there, we build our own factory, we build our own warehouse or whatever. They try to move very cautiously. So they don't really have that much trust in themselves because they don't have the experience and they don't know the environment. If you look at, on the other side, mergers and acquisitions, they form the major part of foreign direct investments in Chinese direct investments in Europe. So it's a safe way. It's a safer approach for many Chinese companies, and from a Chinese perspective, go there, you know what you need. You need access to the market. You need a distribution network that's well established. You need a good brand. You need a good partner, minority partner. You know what you need. You need technology, whatever. So take a look at the market and go shopping. It's a good way. If you can buy something, buy it. You know, there were, like last year, there was one small Swiss shop company. So it's a manufacturer, having been purchased by a Chinese company. And this is a good approach. From the Chinese standpoint, you go there, you have a well-established company, you look at them, you figure out whether it's suitable for you, and if you can obtain them and you can purchase them, you can merge with them and then buy them. Okay, it's a good thing, because then I have everything. Maybe I need that because I don't need to, in the first period, really focus on the foreign market, but still focus on my internal market. You remember the case I mentioned before about the detergent producer, for example. So it's good. You just need, maybe you just need the know-how, you need the technology, you need whatever. But you still focus very much on product development and improvement for your internal market. So that might be a very good approach at the beginning. But it's going to be very difficult following the path along the further development. Because if you want really seriously get into the market and you want bring different cultures together, bring different understandings and interests together, you might have considerable problems in the long run with simply sticking into just, find someone, merge with someone, buy him, and then you figure out how it goes. Looking at greenfield investments. As I said, this is not really the majority form. It's not really what still would be the main approach of Chinese investors. Looking again yet on the number of transactions, then we see that the small companies, the small whatever being set up by Chinese, way outnumber the big mergers. So doing something along the safe way and the safe path. From a Chinese perspective, it would be good to start off small. Don't use too much investment. Maybe have an office, maybe have a small company, whatever. Trying, of course, to be independent. However, if you want to do it on a large scale, if you really need a lot of investment, then you really have to invest a lot. But you would not get to so many projects. It's a safe way. Now, looking at the second part of private enterprises, we talked about private enterprises, the top 5 private enterprises, in comparison to state-owned enterprises. With regards to investments in Europe, then we have Geely Company, we have Sunny, which by the way are doing very good and which have made a